doing. He used to be a fantastic Top Gear presenter, a successful one. Now he's on with me. Steve Berry, good morning.
Morning, Jezza.
How we doing up north? Is it raining in Manchester?
Well, as you can say, I've got a whisker on over me rain, Max, so it must be, the weather can't be that clement.
I remember when I started working in Manchester, this is genuinely true, for the first 63 days, it rained every day, and I kept going, is it going to stop? And they went, no, we're in Valley, it rains every day. Stevie, yeah. I'm going to start this differently. Aren't you one of those weirdos who thinks electric cars are good?
Yeah, they are.
Right. Well, hold on. No, don't start, Berry. I know what you like, right? Today, we find out from this wonderful government that hybrid drivers will be hit with a double whammy of road tax. They'll have to pay 1.5p a mile as well as regular fuel duty, which says to me that these poor people that were conned into getting an EV vehicle have been dropped in the mire, haven't they?
Yeah, I always wondered how government were going to square the fact that they were the ones who encouraged us, not just in the UK, across the sort of the Western world. There's been a move instigated by governments rather than by the car industry to move towards electric vehicles. And I always wondered how they'd square that with the fact that collecting revenue from petrol and diesel cars has been the golden calf for decades. It was the perfect way to collect revenue. You levied the revenue at the point of sale. People paid the tax on petrol and diesel before they used it. They filled up the car and they paid the considerable amount of duty right there and then. And I thought, how on earth are they going to replace that revenue when we move to electric cars? Because how will government know whether or not you used a unit of electricity to make a piece of toast, power perhaps something that you might have been bought for Christmas in a brown envelope, or to charge your car?
Can I talk about the second option there? Were you implying some sort of aid of any kind? What were you saying there?
I was just pointing out, Jeremy, that the way that electric cars are powered took away potentially that revenue source from government that petrol and diesel offered. And I posited, and I've been doing so for the last 10 years, I'm not the only one, that the government would have to move towards a pay-as-you-go model. So you will have a black box, as so many young people have to have a black box in their car because of their ridiculously expensive insurance. They still have to have a black box that monitors their driving. We're all going to end up with a black box that monitors our driving.
Well, this is really interesting, because the other story, and as ever we'd love you on all the time, breathalysers could be fitted in all Brits cars as millions risk an instant ban and a $2.5 grand fine this Christmas. You're talking about black boxes in cars to see how youngsters drive, in cars that are electric to give the government info. Breathalysers, where are you on this, SB?
Well, again, it's one of those things where you say, do you agree with drink driving? And I say, absolutely bloody not. No,
never.
Not. Would you like to have a breathalyser in your car? Try putting a breathalyser in my car and see how far you go. There's a line in the sand, isn't there? They're watching us everywhere we go. Manchester, you've mentioned it. We had cameras put up all over Greater Manchester at huge expense for the so-called clean air zone. The clean air zone never happened. Guess who's using those cameras now? Yeah, Dibble. They're watching us all the time. But when they put them up, they didn't say, oh, it's so we can watch you all the time, every single yard that you drive with. No, they said it's for a clear air zone. Then they said, oh, yeah, forget that. But we are using them for other things.
Do you think, just final question, do you think that middle-aged men in gilets should have a sort of black box attached to their shirts to see how angry they get at 5 to 10 on a Wednesday?
I don't think we need a box to gauge how angry I am. All I have to do is come on with you, and you ask me these questions, and I get irritated. But I'm sure other people do. What's happened to Britain?
Yep.
Breathalysers in our cars, cameras watching us all the time.
And yet women being attacked in the streets because we ain't got any police to do the average job that you're supposed to. You can't go to a hospital and you can't see a doctor, you can't see a dentist, but you can go to prison for 30 months for simply writing some hurty words. We've gone nuts, man, and you and I, the older generation, have to keep fighting. And by the way, that gilet, do you know what, I'm sat here, this is genuinely true, I'm thinking, oh, that looks warm. That's what happens to us. Next will be dressing gowns and slippers.
I've got a thermal vest on underneath it. If you want to see, do you want to see that?
No, mate, get off. Thanks very much indeed. Steve Berry, live and exclusive on Talk Breakfast. Legendary man. Loads of